To discuss this, we're joined in New Delhi by a spokesman for the ruling BJP, Sudesh Verma. In Mumbai, we have Waris Pathan. He's the spokesman for the opposition party, All India Majlis-e-Ittehadul Muslimeen. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us here on the Newsmakers. Let's start with the man from the BJP, Sudesh. So, criminalizing triple talaq. Tell me why you think it's the right thing to do.
You are aware that the Supreme Court of India, which is the custodian of the Constitution of the India and all the values enshrined in the Constitution, had termed instant triple talaq. We are not talking of triple talaq per se, but we are talking about talaq-e-biddat, which is instant triple talaq, which is said on WhatsApp, which is said on phone, which is sent through messages. And then this talaq provision is used to divorce Muslim women by their husbands. So this has been termed illegal and unconstitutional by the Supreme Court India. We took about a year to get a law framed, and during this time also, when it was illegal, people used this triple talaq to do the divorce. So we realized that, unless because Supreme Court had asked us to frame a law, unless you criminalize it, because something which is illegal should not be used. That is why it is illegal. That is why it is unconstitutional. So if you do that, then naturally you fall within the realm of criminality. And
right.
That too, even when we made it criminal, we have made it very sensitive in the sense that there is a provision for bail by magistrate, there is a provision for the wife going, and the crime can be compounded. So all these things have made the legislation very, very sensitive towards both the sides. At the same time, we felt there's a need for have a justice system which criminalizes the whole process which is illegal.
Okay, let me bring in Waris Pathan here. So, Waris, one of the interesting things that we heard there was that he spoke, Sudesh, about talaq-e-biddat, as he said, which obviously comes from the word bid'ah, or innovation, right? So they categorize or subcategorize this. They say, well, talaq per se, and a lot of Muslims do believe this, is a three-pronged phase, if you like, maybe over a period of time, 3 legal processes, but it's those who do a 3 strikes and you're out type of thing, whether on WhatsApp or to their wife's face. It's that is wrong, and they want to criminalize that. Why are you against that? Tell me.
Well, let me tell you, marriage in Islam itself is a civil contract. Now, in a civil contract, the government of the day, that is the BJP, is trying to criminalize it. When the Honorable Supreme Court has in clear terms said that whosoever pronounces instant triple talaq, that is null and void. If it is null and void, that means that the marriage itself is not dissolved. The wife remains the wife, the husband is the husband. Now they want to criminalize it by sending the man to jail for 3 years. The onus lies on the wife to prove that she was instantly given triple talaq. Okay, we say Supreme Court is right, we accept the law. Now you tell me, I am asking a simple question. During the pendency of that period, if the husband is sent to jail for 3 years, she remains the wife. Who will take care of the wife and the children? Who will burn the burden to engage lawyers to see that the man, the husband is sentenced to jail, comes out on bail? Now, after coming out on bail or after being acquitted after 3 years, will that man accept his wife? That is why we say that this bill with the law which the BJP government is trying to bring itself per se bad enough. Now, the government is talking about gender justice. Article 14 talks about right to equality. If a Hindu divorces, the punishment is not that. So why only for the Muslims?
Okay, so
and
let me,
what
before
about
I
the
ask,
desertion law?
Okay, so
many people
okay, so
have...
you posed a bunch of interesting questions there, right? So you posed a bunch of them. Before I go to Sudesh to address why it might be different or the law might be different for Hindus, I want to ask you, Waris, you're saying that if people come from poorer communities and if the husband is in jail, who's going to provide for the wife and kids? Well, he was divorcing the wife anyway, right? So he was divorcing her anyway instantly. So wasn't he going to give her some sort of payoff and that was going to be that?
Well, see, this is nothing but the government wants to interfere into the Sharia law which we are practicing. This is the interference in the law. The let me tell you, instant triple talaq, talaq-e-bidda, which they call, is bad in law, and the Supreme Court also held we have to accept the Supreme Court ruling. But I am talking about the hypocrisy of the government of the day. Here, the spokesperson of the BJP, Mr. Verma, said that we have to follow the Supreme Court, which is the guardian of the Constitution. Now, in triple talaq law, it becomes the guardian. And what about the Sabarimala, where the Supreme Court says that the woman should not enter into the temple between this age? There the Supreme Court, there the BJP people say, no, it is the question of our faith. So what about my faith? Your faith is faith and my faith is not faith.
Okay,
that is what they want to say.
So
this is the hypocrisy.
Let us pose that to
This is
Sudesh.
no justice to the Indian woman, let me tell you.
Okay, so let's pose that then to Sudesh. Sudesh,
this is no justice to the Indian woman. This is creating more burden for the woman.
Okay, so this is not a liberation for Muslim women, because what happens to the Hindu women who want to enter temples? They're told, well, the government's on side with arguably misogynistic practices. Go ahead and answer.
No, it is not correct. You see, actually, if you want to have a debate on that, we can have a separate debate on that. But you must know that if a Hindu wants to divorce his wife, he has to follow a legal process, and then he has to pay compensation to his wife also. Because the divorce is through court only, there is no provision for instant triple talaq or whatever, and it's equal. Men can divorce and also women can divorce. Tell me which women in Islam would get the right to divorce husband through triple talaq? And it is not Sharia, it is against Sharia. The court has said it is against Sharia. Sharia Act of 1937 does not provide for talaq-e-biddat. We are not against talaq per se, I told you in the beginning. Is the triple talaq, instant triple talaq, which the government is opposing because it violates the right to equality of Muslim women. Muslim women cannot be allowed to live a life of destitute just because men want to just feel that the woman is no longer desirable, so she can be given triple talaq. Now there is provision for subsistence.
So
and you cannot say that if you have committed an act of criminality, you cannot say that because your family will suffer, you should not be punished. You have committed an act which is criminal. So Sudesh, you will suffer the punishment.
Okay, Sudesh. So, Waris, help me understand why you don't trust the intentions of those parliamentarians trying to push this through.
Well, it is clear from the way the BJP government is trying to criminalize it, this is nothing but putting the burden on the wife to prove. Now, as the BJP spokesperson was talking about equality, what equality you are talking about? Is it gender justice? In one case, you want to show equality, the other you don't want. Is it not hypocrisy? And let me tell you, let me bring to the notice of the viewers who are watching all over the world, that lakhs of Muslim women came out on road opposing the triple talaq bill. Why is the BJP spokesperson silent on that? Were they mad? Those women said that this bill is directly in confrontation with our Sharia law. And how many percentage of triple talaq have taken place in our country? And see comparatively how many women have been deserted. Sir, let me tell you, there are 20 lakh plus Hindu sisters who are waiting in Vrindavan for getting justice. Who will give them justice? Where is the law of desertion then? That is why we say the Modi government is only against the Muslim women. They don't want to empower Muslim women. Let me tell you, let me make it very, very clear. Their intentions are bad. They don't want to empower. Had they any intention of empowering the Muslim women, time and again we have been requesting that, okay, kindly give the Muslim women demand-driven scholarship. What prevents them, the government from providing that? Let the Muslims get education. Let them come forward in society.
Sudesh.
Let them come forward
let's
in
get
life.
Sudesh to respond.
No, here the intention of the government is malicious. And that is why we object to it.
Sudesh?
You say it's wrong to say so. I'll tell you why. For the simple reason that you go and ask a Muslim women who has suffered. Muslim women have been coming on the television channels, debating it openly. It's not, ours is not a closed society. You must understand there is a difference between India and there is a difference between other countries which are Islamic countries. We are not governed by Sharia. We are governed by the Constitution of India. Private laws that come in conflict with Article 14 that guarantees equality to everyone, irrespective of sex or caste or religion, will always prevail. You see, even in Turkey, I understand, even in other Islamic countries, the provision of triple talaq and instant go, talaq-e-biddat does not exist. They have witnessed reforms. So why should Muslims of India, particularly males, try to protect that domain that exploits women? That is as simple as that.
Turkey is a secular
like
country.
Like say that if something is wrong happening in Hindu society, women can always
Well, I am living in India.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Waris.
Well, sir, may I come in?
Yeah.
Well, I am living in India. I follow the constitution. I don't talk about Saudi and Turkey. In Saudi, the rule of law is that if you commit theft or robbery, your hands are chopped off. This law is not applicable in our country. So if you are living in India, follow the rule, follow the law, follow the constitution, and there should be equality. There should not be a different law for a Hindu divorce. There should not be a different law for a Muslim divorce. You are interfering into the Sharia without...
That's
okay,
a
when
very
you introduce the bill,
thing. If all Muslim
did the
intellectuals
government
agree
have the
to that,
courtesy to call the stakeholders for or against? No, the stakeholders were not even consulted. Why? Don't you find any Muslim muftis? Did you not find any Muslim scholars to consult prior to the implementation of the bill? You could have very well consulted the stakeholders. But no, the government of the day wanted to show the dictator mind. This is a dictatorship. This was not in a democratic way. That is why we oppose that kind of bill. Why? Don't talk about gender equality, sir. For 377, you decriminalize. Adultery, decriminalize.
Okay, Waris, give the man a chance to respond.
With the triple talaq, criminalize.
Okay, Sudesh?
I don't agree with what he is saying because he is not able to see reason. Patriarchal society, male-dominated society have led to suffering of women, more so in Islamic society in India. We are not doing anything which is
yes, I can see those women who are staying in Vrindavan.
Talaq Biddat is not allowed.
20 lakh Hindu sisters are there in Vrindavan waiting for justice.
Why should
give them justice first?
Just because they want to preserve their domain, they want to keep exploiting their women.
What about you?
Sit silent.
What about you? When will you give justice to those women who are waiting for justice in Vrindavan? Lakhs and lakhs of girls.
Community you belong to, it doesn't matter. We are all governed by the law of the land. If any act, if personal law comes in conflict with the Constitution, the Constitution shall prevail. That is our Bible.
Okay, gentlemen, let's take a breath for a second. Waris,
and I'm very happy to say, Waris Pathan ji said...
Okay, hold on for a second, Sudesh. I want to ask Waris a question because Waris brought up the fact that he believes that the stakeholders were not consulted for or against, and I'm assuming he means within the Muslim community, right? So Waris, if the stakeholders could be consulted, right? And we look at this, and as a baseline, we accept that, okay, it's probably a really terrible idea if somebody can divorce his wife on WhatsApp, and we move from that baseline. Would you accept some sort of compromise position?
Right. Well, let me answer to your query and to your question. The thing is, if the stakeholders would have been consulted, like if some mufti or Muslim scholar, they would have very well said that the marriage is a civil contract. When the meher is announced, kindly provide a contract in the meher that if you divorce, if you give instant triple talaq, you will have to pay 4 times more than what is there in the meher. Put that punishment. And if the husband, if the man, he does not follow the contract, in that you can imprison him. That you can make him a criminal and you can send him to jail. Because if you don't follow the contract, if you don't accept the contract, then it amounts to a crime. That way you can criminalize. But the government they did not have any courtesy to consult them. They went ahead and they said that, okay, if you pronounce instant triple talaq,
it is wrong.
You will be sent to jail. Whereas the Supreme Court says it is null and void.
Sudesh,
I am saying, what is wrong in that?
Okay, hold on. So Sudesh,
what is wrong?
Sudesh, we're hearing from Waris.
If you enter into a contract with a woman, and if you don't follow the contract, it becomes a crime.
Okay, so he's saying it's a civil contract.
But not for pronouncing triple talaq. Because in marriage is there, sir. Marriage itself remains. It is not dissolved.
Please don't confuse the debate with your shouting match. You see, it's wrong to say we did not consult. We consulted.
You don't
Even when it was being argued before the Supreme Court, All India Muslim Personal Law Board, which claims to be custodian of Muslim interests, also argued. They did not. They said that we will create awareness, but no awareness was created. The practice continued. The government was bound to come up with the legislation, and if you use
how many
something which is
divorces in Hindus have taken place till
now,
now?
Not there. If
kindly show the empirical data to the viewers that how many divorces have taken place in Hindu community and how many divorces have taken place in Muslims. Kindly show the data. I will prove the data.
If it's a civil contract, you cannot
kindly
use
show
the
the
criminal
percentage
act
of desertion.
of instant
Kindly
talaq.
show the percentage of divorces in the Hindu community.
Okay. And
How many triple talaq
No, we don't need to show you.
in the country?
You
Can
say
you tell
whether
me?
the law is
Can you give
progressive
the
or
data?
not.
And I think
Can you
we'll
give
have
the
want to
data?
give justice
Can
to
you
your
give the
women or
data?
not?
Can you give the data?
Gentlemen, and I think we'll have a separate discussion with
You
regards...
don't worry about the women. Kindly
Lakhs
give
of
justice to
Muslim
the
women
lakhs of
came on
women
the
who want
street
justice in
demanding
Vrindavan
an
who are
end to
waiting for
instant
justice.
Okay,
talaq.
gentlemen, I think we'll have a
Kindly give them
separate
justice,
discussion
sir.
about Hindu women vis-a-vis Muslim women in India, because I think that's something that's been brought up very often. And full disclosure here, for a lot of viewers, you would be watching this and thinking, where's the Muslim woman in this particular debate? Or where's the Indian woman at all in this debate? I will say we reached out to multiple women in our research and the build-up to the segment, and we did actually have a feminist activist who was ready to appear on the show. The Skype connection was terrible, and we apologize for that because we were going to have a female Indian voice on this debate and this panel. But for the moment, gentlemen, I have to move on. I thank you both for joining us here on The Newsmakers, Sudesh Verma and Waris Pathan. Thanks again.
Thank you.